Breaking news right now, the emperor has no clothes.
There is a cognitive decline of Donald Trump.
And then they announced there was no buys, no.
Hey, welcome back into another breaking story here at Occupy Democrats. And we knew Donald Trump was declining in his first term, as this ex-GOP senator said.
He's not well. He really should be, Congress and the cabinet should be thinking in serious terms about whether he's fit to serve. He's delusional. He doesn't grasp the fact that he's lying. He believes in his own lies. He cannot be persuaded otherwise.
And yes, if you'd like to see this dementia-oriented mango muppet out of the White House, just subscribe to the channel.
And he has no shame, guilt, or regret, or remorse. I mean, the man is delusional as well as paranoid.
That was then, and Trump just did this by giving the guy the finger here. And in present terms, people with clinical experience echo the very same thing.
If you look at Donald Trump even 8 years ago, he sounds like a very different person.
But this is the absolute truth of today.
He was mean, he was racist, he was sexist, but he wasn't in the cognitive decline that he's in now. This is a guy who is on a fast track to dementia.
Yes. He's en route to dementia. But what's old is new, and let's wrap it again all the way around from 10 years ago to where Trump is today.
I truly believe that President Trump is laboring under a sick psyche, that he's mentally impaired. These incendiary, dangerous statements add to the mountain of evidence that the president is mentally unstable, not fit to discharge the office that he holds.
And in this breaking story, when Trump is in the World Economic Forum in Switzerland, he goes 33 texts in 45 minutes, losing his mind. Holy smokes, look at this breaking story.
Trump triggers 25th Amendment calls after 33 posts in 45 minutes. President Donald Trump renewed calls for the 25th Amendment to be invoked after he went on a bizarre, contradictory, late-morning posting spree. Trump, 79, posted 33 times in 45 minutes on Tuesday, claiming he has done more for NATO than anyone, and sharing conspiracies about Dominion voting machines, non-existent voter fraud, and a clip of his 2017 inaugural address, among other things. The flood of posts, which come as he threatens to shatter relations with long-standing European allies by demanding that the United States seize Greenland from Denmark, immediately renewed calls for his removal from power. Are we watching a real-time mental health crisis with Trump? Posted former Republican Representative Adam Kinzinger on Blue Sky shortly after Trump's mad barrage ended. Seriously, among the spree was a screenshot of a post from a user named Bobby D that claimed.
Let's bring in MS Now's Vaughn Hilliard from the White House. MS Now's Inez de la Quatera live from Davos. And MS Now senior national security reporter David Rode. Also with us, author of the Need to Know Substack and Daily Beast columnist David Rothkopf. Vaughn, President Trump really creating quite a stir and making some news there. Talk to us about how he tried to make the case for the U.S. to acquire Greenland.
Right, Anna. I think that we need to be very clear at this moment in time what the backdrop was to these remarks from the President of the United States in Switzerland. And that was that less than 24 hours ago, French President Emmanuel Macron, effectively speaking for a great number of European countries, was very explicit about the threat that the United States president was posing to European countries. He said yesterday, we're shifting to a world without rules. Imperial ambitions are resurfacing, in which unacceptable tariffs are being used as leverage against territorial sovereignty, and that Trump wants to openly aim to weaken and subordinate Europe. That comes just days after President Trump threatened to impose new tariffs on each of those countries, including Europe and Denmark, I should say France and Denmark, unless they push for Denmark to agree to the selling of Greenland to the United States. And so while it is notable that President Trump there in Davos said that he does not intend to use force, he also made it very clear clear that it would be overwhelming force and that the U.S. could easily take it and that there would be little resistance. It was that sort of a threat that, of course, European allies, longtime European allies of the United States, are clearly in tune to, because President Trump has made his objective very clear. He has continued to post also about acquiring Canada. He has called himself the acting president of Venezuela. So his expansionist ideations have been made very clear to Europe, and the president of the United States made it clear that he and the United States effectively are boosting the economies of these European countries, and that if they were to forego cooperating with the United States, their economies would consequently suffer.
Inez, I'm curious if there's any international response so far to the Trump's remarks. I know it's early, but what is the tone? What are you hearing?
Yeah, and I will wait to get specific statements from different countries. But I think overall there's a sense that the president's arguments are not holding up here. So he continues to insist that he needs Greenland for national security reasons. And yet it was just last week that the Danes and European allies announced they would be sending in reinforcements to Greenland, additional troops, additional resources to bolster security both in Greenland and around the Arctic. And the president's response was to threaten to slap 10% tariffs on those countries. So I think people don't understand what he's trying to do.
President Trump standing before the world and putting it on notice. He's not backing off at all in terms of his ambition to take control of Greenland, but says it will be through negotiation.
And just minutes ago, he wrapped up his much anticipated speech at the World Economic Forum. He delivered his clearest statement yet that he will not use military force to seize the Danish territory, but reiterated his desire to take over Greenland. He also slammed the NATO military alliance and American allies, calling his demand for Greenland a, quote, small ask.
We never asked for anything, and we never got anything. We probably won't get anything unless I decide to use excessive strength and force, where we would be, frankly, unstoppable. But I won't do that. Okay? Now everyone's saying, oh, good. That's probably the biggest statement I made, because people thought I would use force. I don't have to use force. I don't want to use force. I won't use force. All the United States is asking for is a place called Greenland.
We're covering all the angles of this very important developing story. CNN anchor and chief White House correspondent Caitlin Collins is on the scene for us in Davos. CNN international diplomatic editor Nick Robertson is in Greenland. Caitlin, let me start with you. The president spoke for more than an hour, and now he's been answering some questions. What stood out to you from the speech, and what is he going to do next?
Well, Wolf, and I'm standing right outside the room where the president just spoke. These guests that are coming out behind me are people who were just listening to the president's speech here at Davos as he was addressing those at the Congress Center. So we'll see if there's anyone notable inside this group that is coming out to get their reaction to what they made of what President Trump had to say. But I think he kind of set the tone, Wolf, as soon as he got on stage, where he greeted not only his friends, but his enemies, and then moments later cut to the heart of something that has roiled this entire conference here in Davos, which were the president's comments yesterday when it came to Greenland. The president said today that he wants to immediately start negotiations to seek the U.S.
In recent months, global conversations have increasingly focused on ideas related to influence, governance, and cooperation between regions and communities. These discussions often involve large institutions, powerful organizations, and well-known decision-makers. However, sometimes the most meaningful perspectives come not from positions of authority, but from everyday individuals who speak calmly and thoughtfully about their lived experiences. One such perspective has drawn attention because it offers a grounded and reflective view of what communities value most. Rather than focusing on wealth, dominance, or control, this viewpoint centers on shared responsibility, long-term well-being, and collective stability. The speaker explains that their community does not define success by financial accumulation alone. While economic activity is important, it is not considered the primary measure of prosperity. Instead, prosperity is understood as the ability of people to live healthy lives, access education, and feel secure within their society. A key theme of the discussion is how land and resources are viewed. In this region, land is not treated simply as a commodity. While individuals may own homes or buildings, the land itself is regarded as a shared foundation for the entire community. This approach reflects a belief that natural resources should benefit everyone, not just a select few. This perspective challenges common assumptions that everything can be bought or sold. According to the speaker, financial incentives alone cannot replace deeply held values or social systems that support fairness and inclusion. Monetary offers, regardless of size, do not outweigh the importance of maintaining social trust and cultural continuity. Healthcare is highlighted as a fundamental pillar of the community. Access to medical services without fear of financial hardship allows individuals to seek care when needed, rather than delaying treatment due to cost concerns. This system fosters a sense of security and shared responsibility, reinforcing the idea that health is a collective priority. Education is described with equal importance. Learning opportunities are accessible to all, enabling individuals to develop skills, explore interests, and contribute meaningfully to society. Students are encouraged to focus on growth and innovation rather than financial survival, which in turn benefits the broader community. The speaker also emphasizes the importance of autonomy balanced with cooperation. Their region maintains self-governance while participating in broader frameworks of collaboration. This balance allows local traditions and values to thrive while still engaging constructively with others. Rather than striving for extreme wealth concentration, the community prioritizes sustainability and equity. Economic systems are designed to support long-term resilience rather than short-term gain. This approach helps ensure that future generations inherit a stable and supportive environment. Historical awareness plays a significant role in shaping these values. Past experiences have shown that when communities lose control over their resources or cultural identity, the consequences can be lasting and difficult to reverse. Learning from history allows societies to make more informed and ethical decisions. Throughout the discussion, the tone remains calm, respectful, and thoughtful. There is no hostility or exaggeration. Instead, the speaker communicates confidence rooted in experience and a clear understanding of what their community stands for. This measured approach stands in contrast to louder, more confrontational discourse often seen in public conversations. By focusing on clarity and shared humanity, the message becomes accessible to a wide audience. Listeners are invited to reflect on how success is defined in their own societies. Is progress measured solely by economic indicators or by the quality of life experienced by individuals? Are systems designed to serve people, or are people expected to serve systems? The speaker suggests that true stability comes from investing in people rather than prioritizing control or accumulation. When individuals feel supported, educated, and healthy, societies are better equipped to adapt to change and face challenges collectively. Another important theme is trust. Trust between citizens and institutions strengthens cooperation and reduces conflict. When people believe that systems exist to serve them fairly, they are more likely to participate actively and responsibly. The conversation also touches on cultural respect. Each community has unique traditions, values, and social structures. Recognizing and respecting these differences is essential for meaningful cooperation and mutual understanding. Rather than imposing external solutions, the speaker advocates for listening first. Understanding local perspectives leads to more sustainable outcomes and prevents unintended harm. Dialogue, rather than dominance, is presented as the most effective path forward. As the discussion continues, it becomes clear that this perspective is not about rejecting progress or engagement. Instead, it is about redefining progress in a way that prioritizes human dignity and collective well-being. The speaker concludes by emphasizing that influence does not always come from authority or wealth. Sometimes influence comes from clarity of values and consistency of action. Communities that know who they are and what they stand for are less likely to be swayed by external pressure. In a world where attention often gravitates toward power and spectacle, this quiet confidence offers a powerful contrast. It reminds us that sustainable societies are built not on control, but on trust, cooperation, and shared responsibility. Ultimately, this perspective invites a broader reflection on what kind of future we want to build. one driven by competition and accumulation, or one guided by balance, care, and respect for both people and the environment. By listening to voices grounded in lived experience, we gain insight into alternative ways of organizing society, ways that emphasize stability, fairness, and long-term resilience over short-term advantage. This message does not demand agreement. Instead, it encourages thoughtful consideration. It asks audiences to pause, reflect, and question assumptions that often go